Welcome. So my name is Anne. I'm an intuitive channel as well as an energy healer and yoga and meditation teacher. And I'm here today with Ashley. So we're here to do an interview with Liam Payne. This is our second interview. We just had some more questions come through, and it's been a while since we originally connected with him. And I know there's a lot that's come out since then. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with him today and just sharing anything he wants to share for his fans and his loved ones. So, yeah, Ashley, if you want to share.
Perfect. So these are questions that have come through to me and that I have previously discussed with Liam. So I know that he's open to speaking about the questions that we ask. And um, yeah, so
Yeah. And I guess we should share. So I will channel today. So I'm just going to share the impressions, the visualizations, the messages that he's sending me. And Ashley is going to be asking the questions, but she's also very deeply connected. So if there's anything I'm missing, please share as well.
um, okay, so I guess we can start off by asking, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? Kind of what's your energy up there? If you could share a little bit just about how you're feeling.
Yeah. And he is coming through a little somber today. It feels like a heaviness on his heart. I think just there's a lot going on. He just wishes that he could, I guess the public, just how much it's talked about still, he's wishing that that would kind of die down a bit. He understands there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of questions, but just he never really expected like this is my word, he's not using this, but I like the bullying, I guess, like the negativity around his passing. He didn't think that would linger because he did experience some of that while alive, and that's just not something he thought would continue on after he passed. So there's,
Getting a
yeah,
lot of backlash. Like he is saying like a lot of backlash just like over his passing and then just people bringing up random things that have absolutely nothing like have nothing to do with where we're at right now.
yeah, and he feels very it feels like that heartache too is for his family and his son, just that they have to deal with that because they're already grieving the loss of him. And then added on to all of this public scrutiny is, yeah, he wishes they didn't have to deal with that as well.
Um, okay, so I guess I'll just kind of dive into the heavier topics and then we can kind of end on like a lighter, happier note.
Sure.
Um, so what was your relationship with Roger actually like? Um, was it was it strictly work related? Was it more friendship? I know that we have talked about it before, and you did really trust him. There was a lot of trust there in that relationship that you had with him. But if you could just explain it a little bit better, kind of what exactly was that relationship to you?
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of, it was complex. There was a lot of like business ideas. He would kind of like be a sounding board, a support system for him business wise. But he is saying they did have good times as well. Like they would joke and they would laugh. And um, he initially, he's saying, didn't feel like he was there, like he didn't have any I'm sorry, I don't know how to put into words, but he didn't really have any, like, he didn't feel like he was using him. Like, initially when they first met, it felt like they could be friends, where a lot of the times he would kind of have, he's telling me, like a bullshit meter with people he
Yeah.
would meet, and he would be able to tell. So yeah, he's saying that, but then there was also some codependency, and just some unhealthy. Here, let me just get clear. This is going to take a minute, what he's trying to show me. So if you're getting anything, let me know.
Okay. I'm just getting that he was very much a yes man, which he had said before. Liam would bounce ideas off of him, and he would always be like, yeah, we could do that. Yes, let's do this. Yes, let's try this. And I think it gave Liam like a sense of security in a sense, right?
Yeah, and there's just something too about, like, it just feels like an enabling relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like to do with substances and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt like he was an enabler. So I'm just asking if he wants to go there. Yeah, yeah, and now that he can kind of see from that higher perspective of spirit, he can see that the intentions weren't pure. He had some motives to gain in that relationship, and he's saying, just because humans are complex, there is a part of him that is obviously really saddened. I'm talking about Roger, and grieving, but there's also, and regret, but there's also a part of him that's like vindictive, and I'm just hearing like out for blood even. So
Okay.
yeah, so he's not proud. He's not proud of the way he's handling things. That's what he's gonna say. And he says there's more that's going to come to light. He's saying a lot of you already know the connections he had, and maybe what some of those intentions were and what some of those motives were. And he's saying, trust your gut there. He does. And I think he said this last time too. Like, I don't think Roger wanted him dead. Like, I don't think that was the plan. I don't think if he thought that was going to happen, he probably would have done things differently. But just the carelessness there, the way, just, yeah, not very mature, the way he acted and is still continuing to act. It just doesn't feel like that self-awareness is there. And again, there was other motives at play. So I think he was looking out more for himself than for Liam.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the judge's ruling and the fact that all charges were dropped against Roger and he is just out free doing interviews?
He's saying he's not surprised. It feels like there's an inner conflict with it all. Just like, yeah, he doesn't even know if yeah, there's an inner conflict, but again, he's not happy with the way he's handling things and trying to clear his name, which is just making him look worse, essentially. So yeah, he doesn't feel, I think he feels conflicted. I don't know. Let me know what you're getting, but the sense I'm getting is he feels conflicted if he wanted him to be charged or not. He's not surprised that he wasn't. But definitely not happy with the way he's going about things.
Hmm. I'm just getting that he isn't to blame for him passing.
Mhm.
But he very much knew what was going on. Um, he had gone to the hotel back and forth that day. He had made payments to people for things that Liam had purchased. Um, so I'm getting like there not to no, there's no blame, but just that
Mhm.
he definitely did have something to do with it. Coming back to that like enabler, like he should
Mhm.
have known better. He knew the mental state that he was in. He knew how he was feeling that day, yet he continued to give in to all of the things that he wanted.
Yeah, he wasn't being a friend that day.
No,
No.
no, no. And just the fact that he knew his mental state and he knew the condition that he was in, yet he still left.
Mhm.
Um, I think that says a lot as well. Just
Yeah,
that,
and it feels like again more is gonna come out about that, but it does feel like that part, again, not the passing, but that part feels like it was a setup. And again, I'm trying to be just
yeah,
clear. Yeah, but he's confirming yes.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, all of that makes sense that he would then leave. And, like, I think all of the pieces will eventually make,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Maya? We've seen some interviews that she's done. Some people have read the book. We don't have to discuss the book. Um, just when you both decided to end your relationship and part ways, what was it like what was it like for both of you? Like, how did you feel? How did she feel? From past interviews and things that have been said, it seemed like it was very much mutual. But what was it like for you?
Okay. He's just saying for us to just be mindful that
Mhm.
all of this is alleged. We're not claiming anything. Yeah, essentially, we are channeling, but just to cover ourselves, it's for entertainment purposes. Um, so, and yeah, right as soon as you were talking, it just felt toxic. It felt like at the beginning it was fun and easy, but then jealousy, insecurities, and he's not saying like he didn't have anything to do with that because he is owning he did make mistakes in that relationship. But yeah, there's just like this darkness there. And it feels like they brought the worst out in each other at certain times. Um, I don't know, the way I've seen it is he during that time he was trying to work on himself and be better, be a better dad, just everything, his career. And it just feels like just this, I'm just seeing like almost like an anchor, just like dragging him down. Um, so I'm just that song lyrics came in my head. Um, so yeah, and then he's saying when they did agree to separate, it yeah, it was both of them. It feels like it was just not healthy at that point. Feels like after the fact he did try to make amends, is what he's showing me, but it wasn't reciprocated. And yeah, I think that's all he wants to say about that.
And they were also COVID had hit too. So I think that can give us some retrospect because everyone was stuck at home, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. I
challenging.
think a lot of people were probably feeling a lot of those things like we were feeling, stuck to our houses and we couldn't go anywhere. And, you're with your significant other literally 24/7 and there's like nobody else that you can, right?
Mhm.
Unless you're FaceTiming and, phone calls and stuff. Okay. Um, um, so I kind of want um to
Yeah,
move.
okay, there's just one more thing he's
Mhm.
adding about her. So he's saying there's a lot of hurt and hatred in her heart still, as you can tell. You can tell when you read the interviews and when hearing her talk. And he does wish her well. He already has apologized when he was living and still wishes it was different. Yeah, there's some darkness there for her, just who she's tied to, that might come out at a later time. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of like hatred is what he's acknowledging, and he wishes her well and hopes that she can move on with her life, because at the end of the day, as we know, when you hold that much resentment and hatred for someone, you're only hurting yourself. So
Okay, I'm gonna move past that now. Um, there isn't really much like, that we can really talk about. She's done interviews and she's spoken and said things and um it is what it is. Um, so I kind of want to talk a little bit more about your spirituality. Um, when you were here on earth, were you very spiritual? Did you meditate? Did you speak to your spirit guides? Did you feel any sort of connection to energy when you were alive?
he's saying I did in some sense, not making fun of us, not as much as you girls do, but he's showing me like when he was outside, that's when he felt most connected, like being
Mhm.
in nature. He's showing me a grandma figure that he felt connected to, and like she was always around.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
Hmm.
As you just said, a grandma figure, my grandma literally just is calling. Like I'm getting choked up. That was really, really strange. Okay,
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
goodness.
Like
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so that's just
so
how.
wild. As you said, grandma, literally my phone grandma popped up. Like
Yeah.
like I have like chills. Okay, keep going. Sorry. That's
Yeah.
just so weird.
Yeah, and I feel like he would try to meditate. He said he struggled with it. But yeah, just like exercise was his form of therapy, he's saying. He did get a lot of techniques from therapists who, now looking back, they could be considered spiritual. I don't think the therapist would call them that, but they are essentially spiritual practices. Um, and manifesting. I feel like he was really into manifesting.
Okay.
Mhm.
And where did you learn to manifest?
He's just saying like life experience from a young age. He would have a thought or a dream, and then it would just come into fruition.
Wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
then he would over time just consciously start to do it, be like, oh, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do that. So yeah, he's saying it's something he kind of realized from a young age. And then he would hear things here and there, like online, about
Mm-hmm.
different techniques. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Um, so we know from several reports that your therapist had let you know that she is no longer to help you, and that you'd need to seek out additional resources. Prior to your passing, were you were you still in therapy? Were you in the process of getting a new therapist, or had you already found a new therapist? Was that something that you were actively doing?
It feels like he gave up.
Okay.
So I feel like he had people in his life, whether that was, I don't know if they were more of like coaches or that type of, um, it doesn't feel like a therapist, but some sort of like inspirational
Yeah.
person, was it
Life
like,
coach type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
something like that, that he would speak to on a regular basis, but it feels like that was a little bit of a blow for him. He didn't take that well, and he's not trying to blame anyone because he knows she had good intentions, right? She was just sharing, I'm not the person that can help you, but just of course, sometimes you can take that personal.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you find therapy helpful when it came to staying sober? When you were sober, was that when you were more into therapy, or was it when you were not sober that you were more into therapy?
Um, he's like, is anyone ever into therapy? Um,
Some people are.
uh, no, I feel like he would seek it out more on those rock bottoms, is what he's showing me. It,
Okay.
it was more of a wake up call for him. Sorry, what was the first part you asked?
If he found it helpful in staying sober.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he says it definitely did, but there was just some core wounds that he wasn't able to get to,
Okay.
that contribute to the not being sober. And he's also saying too, now that he's in spirit, he can see that it wasn't just his own life. It was ancestors, it was past lives. So he's saying, unless you're going to go see someone who can do all of that,
Mhm.
who is more spiritual based, that's hard to ever heal and acknowledge, right? Not that there isn't value in therapy, because obviously there is, but he's just now from his perception able to see that there was a lot of contributing factors, that even as humans, myself, have experienced, we don't always think about or even think is possible to be contributing to an issue or a struggle that we're experiencing. So
Mhm. Okay. Um, if you were able to do it all over again, would you change anything? Knowing what you know now about fame and how big One Direction got to be, do you think you would choose to just live a normal life?
he's saying no, because he can see how much love and how much healing, like even just their songs, how much that has impacted the world. So he's saying no. What he wished he would have done different, not only for himself, but for all of them, is have the support, like the mental health support from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard for anyone to prepare you for that amount of fame, but he's saying he wished that he would have had somebody to keep them in line, especially with the substances and things like that, and just even being able to talk to you honestly about how he's feeling and what he's going through, because he said it was very confusing because everyone on the outside would say, oh, you're so lucky, you have your dream life, your dreams have come true, like you are living,
Mm-hmm.
so he felt like he could never truthfully share what he was feeling, because yes, fame, money can change your life for the better, and of course there's many benefits to it, but that doesn't erase trauma, that doesn't erase what you went through growing up, that doesn't erase
Mm-hmm.
losing a loved one. Like you're still
Mhm.
human and you're still going to have human emotions and go through struggles in life. So he's saying he wished he had support. It was part of his life purpose, though,
Okay.
being famous and in that band and everything.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, I had seen something online yesterday, and I had shared it with Anne, and then I mentioned it to you, and we had a conversation about it. So there's a lot of speculation regarding your LP2 album. Um, some people are speculating you were going to speak on a lot of what is going on in Hollywood right now. Is there any truth to that? And will we ever get to hear any of the music from that album? Like, we know that you were working on an album. I feel like it was like, teased a little bit. You were working on new material, working on new things. So is there any truth to that speculation?
He is saying that when he wrote that album, he was done just with the industry in general. He's saying he didn't even know, like he knew bits and pieces of what was going on, and the more of the, I guess, the greed aspect of it.
Hmm?
He's saying now he does, yeah, he didn't even know 25% of what's going on. So in that aspect, yes, he has shared things, or he
Okay.
wrote, he's showing me he wrote lyrics about.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm just seeing if he wants to go there. You go ahead. I'm just gonna get clarity on something if you don't mind, if you
Yeah,
don't
no, for sure.
want to share what you got about that.
Um, very similar to you, just that he had written that album, and it was very much him. And I think that there was a bit of conflict with the record label. And I mean, like, you can kind of tell when someone is writing an album and it's their true, authentic self versus when they're writing an album because that's exactly what the label wants, right? Like, um, and it feels very much like he was writing more from his own perspective and kind of like writing what he wanted to write, maybe not like pop hits or um like those type of singles. He was just really truly like writing from his heart, I think is what it feels like. um and there was a lot of like conflict, I want to say, within that. And I feel like from what he's saying, um there was definitely conflicts within his label and what he wanted to produce versus what they wanted him to produce.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, it
I,
feels. Oh, go ahead.
and because we know that his label had dropped him prior to him passing, and like I'm getting him like I'm a good singer. I'm like I should be valued for what I can do, right? Like
Mhm.
I should be able to write songs and put them out, and my fans will love them regardless, right? And it feels very much like the label was like, no, you need to put out number ones and pop hits. And it feels like there was a lot of like kind
Pushback.
of pulling back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I got too. Pushback from label. They
Mhm.
tried to put him into a box. And of course,
Yes.
I knew anyone who speaks their truth, who's has the ability and the vulnerability to share what they're feeling, even if it is, I'm just quotations here, dark. Um, People get scared of that, right? No, 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 you can't say that. So that's kind of what I'm getting. He is acknowledging there's a lot of conspiracy of like if he was murdered because of that or if he was a sacrifice. He's saying he's not. I feel like there is, no, he's telling me not to go there again. Okay. But that's not, yeah,
No,
that's not why he died.
no. I feel like that's very unrelated.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If anyone listening right now is struggling with their mental health, what advice would you offer them?
They just talk, get help, talk to anyone that you trust, anyone that you're comfortable with. Don't be scared of what people are going to think of you. Reach out to a professional. He's saying he understands that can be expensive, but there are a lot of resources and options out there. So just search. You don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, another thing he's acknowledging too, and yeah, I'm like, it might be me wanting to bring this up, but just because of the work I do, but there always is that spiritual component. We're all connected, mind, body, soul. So I feel like in Western society, we like to just treat one thing at a time, the symptom, instead of looking at the whole picture. So if you can, get some holistic support as well, just to help, a lot of the times it can be, especially if you are using substances, energies can come in and attach to you. So having someone with the capability to clear that for you, and just, yeah, that's something to be aware of. It's, something we've talked about too before. A lot of the times when people struggle, you say like, oh, they were fighting demons or their inner demons. And like, yeah, that's true, because sometimes you do have outside energies affecting you and you don't feel like yourself, but I feel like that's not widely known or talked about. So that can be a component. But yeah, most importantly, talk to someone, a teacher, a loved one, even like a support line. He's saying just knowing that you're not alone, there's nothing wrong with you. And he's saying too, just like even getting outside can do wonders for your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
mind, your body, and your soul. So um yeah, and then again, if you're comfortable talking to spirit, asking for help, we all have guardian angels, we all have a divine team. He's saying, even call upon me, I'll be there to help you. So knowing, even if we feel alone in the physical realm, we're not alone in the spiritual realm. We're all have a guardian angel. And this is more me saying it than him, but we are supported more than you'll ever know. So all you have to do is ask for help. And that goes with the spiritual realm too,
Mm-hmm.
because they can't help unless you ask, just because of free will. So
Yeah. When do you think your mental health started? When do you think you started struggling with your mental health? Um, did you struggle with it as a child or I want to say as a teenager, but we know that you went on X Factor, I think at 14, right? And then you returned again at 16, something like that. Um, so was it kind of when you started becoming famous that you started struggling with your mental health, or was it kind of always something that you struggled with?
he's showing me like from a young age, he was really sensitive and sometimes would experience intrusive thoughts, which would scare him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, he's saying from like a young age and not really knowing or understanding what was going on. But again, I feel, this is just my personal opinion, I feel like he was connecting to spirits, like not like earthbound spirits, not good ones. Because I also experienced that when I was younger. So like when you're sensitive or empathic, you're just open to everything, right? So different energies of different places can affect you, and the news, if your parents were struggling with anything, like
Mm-hmm.
everything, right? So yeah, I feel like he was just very sensitive and just like a kind empathic soul, and he would feel things so deeply, and he would carry things for a long time and not really know how to let them go or what to do with them.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Just when the fame did come, he was showing me it just magnified even more and just not feeling like himself. And he's saying that's why the substances would drown that out a little bit. But yeah, he's acknowledging he just didn't have the tools or the help or the support because yeah, it was a lot. Like I can't even imagine. Like I'm very sensitive as well. And I go to Costco and I'm like done for the day. So I can't even imagine that level of fame and like
Yeah.
how that would affect you energetically and everything.
Mhm. What do you want people to know about, what do you want people to know about everything that's going on right now? Your passing, the case in Argentina. Is there anything that you can share that hasn't been shared, or that maybe hasn't been shared accurately?
He is saying that there is, excuse me, there is very clear people being paid off. But he is saying there is a whole team here in the physical. It feels like his family is involved as well as in the spiritual, who are helping and trying to get the truth and just for some justice to be served.
Mhm.
He is saying, and I feel like he said this last time, like at the end of the day, yes, I wasn't surrounded by good people and I was in a bad situation. And he can see that. And he's saying two people who contributed, but he's saying at the end of the day, he made the choices he made,
Mhm.
even though he wasn't in the right state of mind. He chose to not be in the right state of mind. But he is acknowledging there will be justice. It might be drawn out a bit depending on a few different factors, but he is saying the right people will be brought to justice, and then the people who have the money to get out of it, they're gonna hold that for the rest of their life, right? The guilt and the regret and the um but yeah, he also wants to acknowledge he loves the how caring and supportive people are, but he doesn't want this to affect their lives and their day to day. He feels like he understands the need for wanting justice, but also just a reminder to live your life because it is so short.
Mhm.
Spend time with your loved ones, do things you enjoy.
Mhm.
Just don't get wrapped up in the drama of it all and just trust that justice will be served at the right time. And he also, again, just wants to say that he wishes all of the media and the negative news around him would stop so his family and his loved ones can find closure and peace.
Mhm. Okay. Um, what was the most surprising thing from the other side?
He's showing me how fast you can get around, like not only like from Earth, but
Yeah.
also to like other planets and galaxies, and just like
Mm-hmm.
showing me you can just like zip around like
Yeah.
and just all you need is a thought, which he had no idea. He's like, yeah, you can be anywhere you want to be in a second. So that was probably the most surprising.
Yeah. Okay. What was your biggest lesson on Earth?
He's sharing trust. Let's elaborate on that. There was a few, but trust was a big one. And most importantly, trusting himself,
Mm-hmm.
which he feels like he was able to do at the end. But that was a continuing lesson over his lifetime of just having other people's input affecting him and not always listening to his own inner knowing. It was also healing, again, healing those past lives and those ancestral patterns of, yeah, depression, he's saying, as well as, yeah, the substance abuse. So he is saying he did learn a lot from that, and especially now being on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were two big ones for him.
Okay. Do you miss anything about Earth?
Yeah, saying obviously just his loved ones, his
Mm-hmm.
son. But besides that, Earth itself, he just misses the, and he's saying he does have that here, but it's different because he doesn't have the physical sensations to go with it. But just the ease of like being able to do whatever you want. Like if you have a day off and you're like, oh, okay, let's go explore here. Like if you're out for a hike or if you're in a new city, just the adventure, I guess, of it. Which, yeah, he's saying he does have, and even more so now because with on Earth, you're stuck in your mind and technology and everything else that brings you down. But he's just saying like he misses the physical of it, like feeling the sun on your face and
Right.
eating a good drink of coffee or eating a delicious pastry or that part of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there anything you wish you knew when you were still alive that you know now?
He's saying so many things. Yeah, just not to take it so seriously. He wishes he would play more. He wishes he would just cut out people from his life who were dramatic or just, brought him down. Yeah, just more lightheartedness, it feels like. And yeah, again, just getting the help, getting the support, trusting that there are good people and that there are people here to help you. It feels like that was a big one because the feeling I'm getting is he got taken advantage of quite often. So yeah, just trusting that there is good in the world and looking for that. Because obviously, if you look for bad or just see the worst in everyone, that's what you're going to experience. Where the opposite is true too. If you see the good and see the best, you'll experience that. What else? Yeah, he just wishes he just did things differently, just stood his ground a little bit more. He showed me he gave his power away a little bit in regards to his career and just trusting other people's opinions instead of listening to his own self and having the courage to walk away if he wasn't valued or respected the way that he should have been. And yeah, more time spent. I feel like that's a big one for him. He wishes he had more time with his son.
Mm-hmm. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be remembered
And hopefully the good parts of me, um, the giving, the laughter,
for?
the healing from the songs and the lyrics that he contributed to. Yeah, and just being a good person, being a friend, being the person who was always there anytime anyone was going through a difficult time, being kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a really good heart and he was a very giving and caring person. And then he's saying, and then, to add with just the tragedy, he's hoping that people can reach for help and can not be scared to get help before things get that bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just more awareness, I guess, on mental health and not being ashamed and not being um he's saying like crucified for it, right? Like he's hoping this will bring change,
Mm-hmm.
that enough people will realize it's not right to talk about or shame anyone for their struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's even saying, I know he's brought this up to us a couple times, but even just thinking about like what Justin Bieber is going through right now, like
Mm-hmm.
it's a cry for help. He's really struggling as well. He's got a lot of things he's going through, and instead of people making fun of him, knowing he needs support and he needs help and offering that. And if you can't physically offer it, then offer it with your prayers and your light and just seeing him and his as his best self. That's the other thing too. And this is me talking, not him. When we focus on the worst in people and their struggles, that can almost continue to create that instead
Mm-hmm.
of like thinking of him at his best, right? Healthy and well and doing what he loves.
Yeah.
So even if you have a loved one in your life who's struggling, just being able to hold that hope for them that they're going to get to that place again and not just focus on the hardships and the struggles and the mental illness and everything they're going through.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess seeing people at their soul, right? At their soul level.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was all that I had. So is there anything else that you want to share? Anything that you want to speak on, interviews that were done, or um just anything that you want to add, anything for your fans, for your family, anything?
Yeah. He does continue to feel all of the love and the support, and he's thanking each of you for that. But just like anything, he can also feel the negative comments and stories and everything. And I think just because this case, there are so many questions and people want to blame someone
Mm-hmm.
because it was sad and it's tragic and they're hurting because they lost someone that they admired. Um, just feels like the best thing at this point is again trusting that the justice will be served in the perfect time, knowing that the right people have been I guess appointed. I don't know if that's the right word, but they've heard the call, they're on the case, they're both in the physical and the spiritual. They're going to make sure that the right people are held accountable. And there was a little bit, I don't know when that came out, a couple of weeks ago when some of the charges got let go, just knowing that that's not going to be the end. So having faith there, obviously you're valid to feel frustrated, but just know that that's not the end all be all. There will be more to come. And yeah, he just feels like and he's really strong with his family. He's like telling them not to look at anything and don't read and just take a step back from all public being out in the public. Um yeah, and he can I feel like, yeah, he doesn't really want to acknowledge everyone else who's doing things because it does speak for itself. He's okay either way. He's at peace. He's kind of protecting his energy a little bit right now, just with how much has been coming out still. Like this has been, what he's saying, like almost his whole life, but the last, oh gosh, how many months is
We're
it?
going on we're on 4.5 months.
Yeah. So it's been a long time of just everyday something, right? So he's saying like the best thing you can do is just disconnect for a while, trust that everything's going to be handled the way it's going to be handled. Um, yeah, and he said this last time as well, but it just feels like this was a tragedy. There are a couple people who could have handled things better and everything, but yeah, it just feels like it. I don't know, the timing wasn't right. I don't think that's when he was supposed to pass, but he's saying he's not holding resentment and he's not holding on to um yeah, any regrets. So just knowing that he's at peace where he is hopefully will help whoever watches this to move on as well.
Perfect.
Yeah. And yeah, again, he's still here, right? Like physically, no, but spiritually, yes, his energy will always be here every time you hear it on the radio or you think of him, or he's saying it's not his last incarnation. He'll be back once all of his family has passed on. So
Okay.
yeah, okay. Anything else?
No, I think that was really it. Um, yeah, no, that was it.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you, Liam, for
Thank
your
you.
everything you shared today. Yeah, we miss you and thank you to everyone watching this. I appreciate it and I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.